welcome to Chore Chapters, because everyday tasks need good company. I'm Leo, and with me as always, we have got Luna.
Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Today we've got a thrilling and interesting story lined up, so grab your headphones and let's dive straight into the story.
Okay, so today we're diving deep into a case that's just, well, it's one of the most baffling true crime stories out there. The Robert Durst saga. Our story really kicks off on a chilling Christmas Eve back in 2000, a discovery in Beverly Hills that would echo for, gosh, decades.
That's right. Picture it. Christmas Eve, Beverly Hills, and the police find Susan Berman. She's this really vibrant writer, daughter of a Vegas mob figure, no less, found murdered, execution style, in her own home.
And right away, it's a total mystery, isn't it?
Totally. The door's open, her dog's running loose, and the initial investigation, it just stalled. It went cold for, well, over 10 years.
But our mission today really is to unpack how this incredibly tangled case, involving this millionaire real estate heir, Robert Durst, how it was finally cracked. Not by standard police work exactly, but through, well, a documentary of all things and what sounded like a confession caught on a hot mic.
Yeah.
We want to pull out the key insights, the surprising bits, the sort of aha moments that show how justice can sometimes find a way, even through the messiest situations years down the line.
And the Durst case, it really did change things. It showed how something like a documentary, not just police work, could become central to finding evidence and swaying opinions, both public and legal. Robert Durst himself, he's the central, very eccentric figure. His life, his alleged crimes, they all get tangled up with Susan Berman's death. It created this pattern that it gripped everyone, horrified them, really.
Let's start by looking at the people involved, this sort of unlikely circle caught up in it all. Starting with Susan Berman.
Okay, Susan Berman, born in Minneapolis, 1945. Her dad, Davy Berman, he was a big deal in Jewish American organized crime, took over the Flamingo Hotel after Bugsy Siegel was murdered, so she grew up with that shadow.
And her childhood was just filled with tragedy, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Her father dies during surgery in 1957. Then her mother dies just a year later from a drug overdose. And Susan, she always suspected something wasn't right. She thought her dad's death was fishy, and she actually believed her mom's overdose was a mob hit connected to his money.
Wow. That background. It's intense.
It is. And, that comfort level with secrecy, with powerful, maybe dangerous figures, it probably made her someone Durst felt he could confide in, which ultimately pulled her into his world.
But despite all that, she was smart, accomplished, went to UCLA. That's actually where she met Durst, late 60s. Then got a master's in journalism from Berkeley.
Yeah, she was a writer. Wrote that autobiography, Easy Street, about her mob family background.
But even so, money was tight for her towards the end. She even got, $50,000 from Durst.
That's right, 2 checks totaling $50,000. And there are letters where she's hoping asking for the money doesn't mess up their friendship. It hints at the dynamic.
And their friendship, it wasn't just casual.
No, not at all. She was his confidant, big time. There are allegations she even gave him a fake alibi after his first wife, Kathie, disappeared back in 1982. She even gave a deposition about it then. And get this, Durst faxed a copy of that deposition to investigators after Susan was murdered.
That's chilling. Okay, let's talk about Durst himself, Robert Allen Durst. Born 1943, eldest son of Seymour Durst, the New York real estate tycoon, heir to this massive fortune.
But his childhood, also deeply traumatic. He claimed he saw his mother jump from the roof of their house when he was 7. Suicide.
Though his brother, Douglas, disputes that he actually witnessed it.
Right. And there's a psychiatrist report from when Robert was just 10 years old. It mentions personality decomposition and possibly even schizophrenia. It paints a really disturbing early picture.
And he never really fit in with the family business, did he?
No. He was passed over for leadership of the Durst organization in 1992. They cited inappropriate conduct, led to this really bitter fight, lawsuits. Eventually, he got bought out for around $65 million in 2006.
And this estrangement just seemed to fuel this pattern of evasion, hiding.
Absolutely. He became reclusive, used aliases. Famously, he disguised himself as a mute woman, Dorothy Senior, down in Galveston, Texas.
Right. And when they finally caught up with him in New Orleans later on, he had a latex mask, fake ID, tons of cash, looked like he was ready to bolt, maybe to Cuba.
It just shows the extreme lengths he'd go to. And for most of his adult life, he was always under suspicion for something. 3 main things. Kathie McCormack's disappearance in '82, Susan Berman's murder in 2000, and then Morris Black's killing in 2001.
And the prosecution's view was that these weren't separate incidents.
Exactly. They argued it was a pattern, eliminating people who could hurt him, people who knew too much.
So let's connect those dots more clearly. First, Kathie McCormack Durst, his first wife, medical student.
Vanished January 31st, 1982 from their home in New York. There were reports of arguments, abuse. She'd apparently been treated for bruises just weeks before, told a friend Durst had beaten her.
And her body, never found.
Never found. Durst's story about that night kept changing. He later admitted he lied to the police about parts of it.
And the key link to Berman.
Well, when the police reopened Kathie's case in 1999, her friends pointed them straight at Susan Berman, said, "You need to talk to her." So the prosecution theory is this renewed focus on Kathie gave Durst the motive to silence Berman. She was the witness who could potentially link him to Kathie's fate.
Okay. Then, just a year or so after Berman's murder, there's Morris Black in Galveston.
Right. 2001, Durst is hiding out in Galveston disguised as Dorothy Sinner. His neighbor, Morris Black, 71 years old, turns up, dismembered. Body parts found in Galveston Bay.
And Durst's defense.
Accidental self-defense. He said there was a struggle over a gun, it went off, killed Black. He admitted dismembering the body and dumping it, though. Said he panicked.
And incredibly, he was acquitted of murder.
Acquitted of murder, yeah. Convicted of destroying evidence and tampering with a corpse. But that case showed what he was capable of. The dismemberment, the methodical disposal. It was chilling.
So the prosecution puts it all together. Kathie disappears. Susan is killed right when police want to talk to her about Kathie. And Morris Black is killed and dismembered while Durst is on the run.
Exactly, a pattern of silencing threats. The argument for Berman's murder was crystal clear from their perspective. She knew what happened to Kathie, the investigation was closing in, so she had to go. Self-preservation, whatever the cost.
It's such a tangled web.
Yeah.
Let's try to lay out the timeline, see how these seeds of suspicion grew over decades.
Okay, so late 1971, Robert Durst meets Kathie McCormack. They marry in '73. He'd already met Susan Berman at UCLA back in the late '60s.
Then, January 31st, 1982, Kathie vanishes. Durst gives that shaky alibi, later admits parts were false.
And Susan Berman allegedly backs him up, gives that false alibi, provides a deposition in '82, the one Durst later faxes to the cops after she's dead. Yeah.
Things go quiet for a long time. Until 1999, the New York State Police reopened Kathie's case.
Big turning point. And Kathie's friends immediately say, talk to Susan Berman.
And right around then, maybe late '99, Durst sends Berman a letter.
Yes. And on the envelope addressed to her in California, he misspells Beverly Hills as Beverly Hills, Beverley. Seems tiny, right? But hold on to that detail.
Crucial. And also around that time, or maybe into 2000, he sends her that money, the $50,000.
Yeah, 2 checks. And we know Berman wrote back expressing worry about, asking for money and hoping it wouldn't affect their friendship. Adds another layer.
Okay, now we hit December 2000, the critical month.
Very critical. December 11th, 2000. Durst secretly marries Deborah Keratin. Why then? Some speculate it was about spousal privilege, perhaps.
And just weeks before she's killed, Susan Berman gets contacted by investigators about Kathie's disappearance. The reopened case is getting closer.
Exactly. The pressure is mounting. Then, sometime between December 22nd and 23rd, 2000, Susan Berman is murdered, shot point blank, back of the head, 9mm handgun, execution style.
And then comes the letter.
The cadaver letter, postmarked December 23rd. Sent to the Beverly Hills police. It just has Berman's address in one word, cadaver.
Add the spelling.
The address includes Beverly Hills, Beverley. Same misspelling as Durst's earlier letter to Berman. It's the link. Years later, Durst would admit he wrote this note.
Chilling. And her body is found on Christmas Eve, December 24th.
Right. Just devastating timing.
And then the aftermath kicks in pretty quickly in 2001.
Yep. January 9th, 2001, an anonymous letter lands at the LAPD. It basically says Durst killed Berman because she knew too much about Kathie.
And that's when Durst goes underground in Galveston.
Into hiding. Disguised as the mute woman, Dorothy Sinner. Living cheap. Trying to lay low.
But it doesn't last. October 9th, 2001, he's arrested after Morris Black's body parts surface.
He gets bail, incredibly. Jumps bail immediately, becomes a fugitive.
Until November 30th, when he gets caught shoplifting a sandwich in Pennsylvania, of all things.
Yeah. And they find him with, $37,000 in cash, 2 guns, Morris Black's driver's license, and directions to the home of one of Kathie McCormack's friends.
Wow. That last detail is really something.
Tells you where his mind might have been, doesn't it?
And then, 2003, the Galveston trial. Acquitted of murder. Convicted for the dismemberment evidence.
Yeah. A shocking verdict to many, but it solidified his image as someone capable of extreme, bizarre, and violent acts, even if he walked on the murder charge itself.
So,
Yeah.
okay, decades pass, Kathie's case is cold, Berman's case is cold, Durst, living his strange life.
Until Hollywood gets involved, which is where things take a really unexpected turn.
Right. The movie All Good Things comes out in 2010. It's inspired by Durst's life, starring Ryan Gosling. And then the most unbelievable thing happens.
Durst himself contacts the director, Andrew Jarecki.
It's just the audacity. After a movie basically paints him as a killer, he calls the director up.
Apparently, he liked the movie but wanted to tell his side of the story, which led directly to Jarecki and his team making the HBO documentary series The Jinx.
He invited them in. It's classic narcissism, maybe, thinking he could control the narrative.
Could be. Hubris, certainly. And it completely backfired, because during the making of The Jinx, they got their hands on that crucial piece of evidence, the letter. Susan Berman's stepson, Sarah Goffman, had found some of her old things. Among them, a letter Durst wrote to Susan back in 1999. And the envelope, addressed to Beverly Hills, Beverley.
The exact same misspelling as the cadaver note sent to the police.
Bingo. Handwriting analysis confirmed it. It was the smoking gun linking Durst directly to the anonymous note about Berman's body. The filmmakers had found what the police hadn't for over a decade.
That's the moment, the huge aha moment.
Absolutely.
So The Jinx starts airing on HBO February 2015, builds incredible buzz.
Then, March 14th, 2015, the night before the finale airs.
Durst is arrested in New Orleans. For Susan Berman's murder, they found him with a gun, cash, fake ID, that latex mask again. Looked like he was about to run.
Timing wasn't accidental. Seems likely the authorities coordinated with the documentary airing.
And the next night, March 15th, the finale of The Jinx airs.
Yeah.
And it contains the moment.
The hot mic moment. Jarecki confronts Durst with the handwriting evidence, the 2 letters. Durst denies it, gets flustered. Then he excuses himself to the bathroom, still wearing the microphone.
And he starts muttering to himself.
Yeah, muttering, "There it is, you're caught." And then, "What the hell did I do? Killed them all, of course."
Chills. Just chills. Now, there was controversy about that, right? The editing.
Yes, quite a bit. It came out later that those specific sentences were edited together. They were pulled from a longer, rambling stream of consciousness bit in the bathroom, about 20 lines or so, and presented out of order for dramatic effect.
And Durst's explanation later was?
He claimed he meant something like, "They'll think I killed them all, of course." Like, that's what people would assume now that the evidence was out.
But the impact was massive, regardless of the editing debate.
Oh, huge. Public perception, cemented. And even in court, while the defense argued about the context, that phrase, "killed them all, of course," just hung in the air. It was powerful, problematic digital evidence. It showed the power and maybe the danger of media shaping a case like this.
So that leads us finally to the trial in Los Angeles for Susan Berman's murder.
Right. It finally starts March 2nd, 2020. And then, boom, COVID hits. Everything stops just days later.
Massive delay. When did it resume?
May 17th, 2021, after a 14-month pause. And Durst himself was in really poor health by then. Bladder cancer, other issues. He was in and out of the hospital. His lawyers kept asking for delays, mistrials. But the judge said, no, keep going.
And the prosecution's case, without traditional forensics like DNA or the murder weapon, really relied on testimony, right?
Hugely. And some of it was absolutely devastating for Durst. Nick Chavin, who is a longtime friend of both Durst and Berman.
What did he say?
Chavin testified that back in 2014, Durst actually confessed to him about Berman. Said Durst told him, quote, "I had to. It was her or me. I had no choice."
Wow. Direct confession to a friend.
And Chavin also testified that years earlier, Susan Berman herself had told him that Durst had admitted killing Kathie. So it linked everything together.
That's incredibly damaging. Anyone else major?
Well, Robert's own brother, Douglas Durst, he testified very reluctantly. Said he was terrified of Robert. Quote, "He'd like to murder me." He talked about their lifelong bad blood, the fights over the family business. It painted Robert as menacing, unstable.
And then Robert Durst himself took the stand.
Yes. For 14 days, a massive gamble by the defense, and it did not go well for him.
How so?
Under cross-examination by the prosecutor, John Lewin, Durst basically admitted to lying repeatedly over the years, lying under oath, lying about being in LA when Berman was killed, lying about the cadaver letter initially.
He admitted writing the cadaver letter on the stand.
He finally did, yes. His story was that he found Berman's body, panicked because he thought police wouldn't believe him, and sent the anonymous note so she'd be found.
That's a hard story to sell.
Extremely. Even Durst himself admitted on the stand, and this is another quote, "It's very difficult to believe, to accept, that I wrote the letter and did not kill Susan Berman."
He said that.
He did.
Oh.
The judge later called his cross-examination devastating to his credibility. When you admit you're a liar repeatedly, it's hard to get a jury to believe your current version of events.
So what was the defense's main argument then?
Basically that he was weird, eccentric, maybe had Asperger's or autism like they suggested, made terrible choices, panicked when he found the body, but wasn't a murderer. That finding the body and sending the note was just another one of his poor choices, not proof of murder.
But the jury didn't buy it.
No. September 17th, 2021, the verdict comes back. Guilty, first-degree murder of Susan Berman.
And the sentence.
October 14th, 2021, sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
And he didn't serve long.
No. Just a few months later, January 10th, 2022, Robert Durst died in custody from cardiac arrest. He was 78. The final chapter closed.
It really is an incredible story of how justice, delayed for so long, finally arrived.
And how it arrived. Through this mosaic, like you said, testimonial evidence, that crucial handwriting link, the financial ties, his own recorded words, his disastrous testimony. Prosecutor John Lewin and his team pieced it all together brilliantly, even without the usual forensic slam dunks.
So, reflecting on this whole deep dive,
Yeah.
what are the big takeaways?
Well, it certainly shows how complex cold cases can be, how they can suddenly heat up with new information, even from unexpected places like a documentary.
Yeah, the media's role here is fascinating, powerful, but also complicated with the editing controversy.
Definitely. And it underscores just how critical a defendant's own words, their own credibility or lack of it can be. Durst talked himself into more trouble time and time again.
So for you, our listener, maybe something to chew on. In this world we live in now, with digital footprints everywhere, constant surveillance, recordings,
Right.
what does the Robert Durst case tell us?
Yeah, how is the very idea of evidence changing? And how will that keep redefining how we pursue justice, in our super connected lives?
Something to think about.
Thanks so much for listening, everyone. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps us out. Until next time, take care and keep your chores company.